Call to order, City Commission meeting of Tuesday, October 23rd, 2018. Let the record show that Commissioner Frederick and Commissioner Trustum are absent. First item up is the order of business. Are there any changes to the order of business?
Thank you, President Decker. I do have a couple changes. First of all, under Administration and Finance, we will be adding ND PERS, PEP, approval of a resolution, which will be handled by Attorney Murtha. And that will come right after A, so it'll be B. And then the reports will be a C. And then also under 11 of the commission, the VITE retainer will come off. That will be removed.
Okay. Any questions for Mrs. Carlson on the changes? Thought I'd look for a motion on the amended order of business.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve the amended order of business.
Second.
With a second. Any further discussion or questions on the order of business? Not all in favor of the order of business, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. Order of business, amended order of business is approved. On the consent agenda, are there any items on the consent agenda that commissioners wish to speak to or have questions for staff on? Not, I'd look for a motion on the consent agenda.
Move to approve, Mr. President.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion or questions on the consent agenda? Not, we'll vote. Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Ms. Walla?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Consent agenda is approved. We have no items on the timetable agenda this evening, so we'll move right into administration. Mrs. Carlson?
Thank you, President Decker and Commissioners. The first item is the Eide Bailly 2017 audit contract. It's an engagement letter, and it's been provided to you in your packet. And what this letter is asking that we sign for in compliance over major federal award programs of the city that's ending as of December 31st, 2017. We have completed all the other audits. This will be the last one, and then we will be in compliance with our audits going forward. So we would like to get this one going. In fact, they are here and working on it, and we would like to be able to have the 17 done and completed by the end of this year, so then we will be in compliance with our audits going forward. So if you have any questions concerning that, the only thing I can tell you is that it is exactly the same engagement letter we've had for the last 3 audits, and the pay is been exactly almost the same.
Okay, any questions for Mrs. Carlson on the Eide Bailly contract? Hearing no questions, I'd look for a motion on the Eide Bailly 2017 audit contract.
Move to approve, Mr. President.
We have a motion to approve with a second. Any further questions or comments on the Eide Bailly contract? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Ms. Walla?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. We have item B. We have an ND PERS resolution.
Mr. President, this is related, but not directly applicable to the retirement plan.
Ms. Murtha? Ms. Murtha? I don't think it- Maybe it is.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Better, okay.
All right.
I'm sorry. This involves the Portability Enhancement Program, and what it is a program that is a companion to the city's 457 plan. So the city already has a 457 plan. It's a deferred compensation plan. It is meant to be a an extra way to save for retirement. When you're a member of ND PERS and you also contribute to your 457, you're able to, under the provisions of this agreement, vest more quickly in the employer contributions. So it is not, it's not additional money, it's not new money. All the money in 457 plans comes from the employee. It's just that they have increased ability to save, invest if they participate in this program. PERS requires a resolution to participate in the PEP program. That's the purpose of the resolution. The agreement was also provided for your benefit. Again, it doesn't cost the city any money. It basically is just indicating when we're going to transfer the information and when it is set to start. And so that is the reason we're bringing this forward to you. I did not include it, the last resolution related just to the retirement plan, so this is a separate resolution for the PEP program. And we're just asking for your approval this evening.
Okay, any questions on 28-2018 is the resolution to approve the City of Dickinson offering the ND PERS Portability Enhancement Program to eligible employees. So, are there any questions for Mrs. Murtha? If not, I'd look for a motion on resolution 28-2018.
Mr. President, move to approve resolution number 28-2018.
Second.
We have a motion to approve 28-2018. Are there any further questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Ms. Walla?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries on 28-2018. We have a report from S&P Global Rating. Mrs. Carlson?
Thank you, President Decker and Commissioners. We received our global rating report. It's on the miscellaneous tax for Dickinson, and the S&P Global Rating revised its outlook to stable from negative on Dickinson Series 2013A and taxable Series 2013B sales and hospitality tax revenue bonds, and affirmed its BBB plus rating on the bonds. The outlook revision reflects their view that pledged sales and hospitality tax revenues have stabilized following sharp declines in 15 and 16, and with relatively stable oil prices supporting an uptick in oil drilling in the region, will likely continue to provide at least adequate near-term coverage on the bonds. This is a report that has been done every year, and now with our audits being completed and our bonds going down, and we'll have the small series paid off in 19, then they will come in again and do another rating for us. So I see it continuing going up and staying stable.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mrs. Carlson on the report? I don't think we need to approve this.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. All right, then thank you for the report. There are no questions. We'll move on. We have nothing for public safety this evening or the police. We have one item in engineering, and Assistant City Engineer Marshak, you're going to be handling the maintenance certification for urban federal aid projects.
Thank you, President Decker. So before you, you have the North Dakota Department of Transportation Annual Maintenance Certification for Urban Federal Aid Projects. So this is an annual form we complete, and what it states is that we, the City of Dickinson, is properly inspecting and maintaining projects that have been constructed using federal aid to pay for those construction costs, and that we're doing that to the standards specified in the DOT cost participation, construction, and maintenance agreement that we enter into with each project. And the city engineering staff recommends approval, but before you move on, I just wanted to mention a couple of those projects that we have done this for. So the first one I have noted is Villard from the I-94 east exit to the west. We did some pavement with that. We did traffic signals on Highway 22 from 14th to 23rd. The railroad grade separation would be a project, along with Museum Drive from 22 to Sims, and the shared use path, 21st Street and 10th Avenue. So those are just some examples of projects that we've done that way.
Okay. Any questions for Mrs. Marshak on this certification?
Mr. President, I move we approve the agreement.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the agreement. We have a motion and a second to approve the agreement. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Ms. Walla?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. The agreement is approved.
Thank
We have
you.
nothing from Public Works or Planning this evening. We do have something from Building Code Enforcement. We have a citizen interest form. Mr. Schwint?
President Decker, Commissioners, the City of Dickinson has received a resignation from Corey Schweitzer. Mr. Schweitzer has served with the City of Dickinson Board of Adjustment and Board of Appeals. Staff wants to thank Mr. Schweitzer for his service while living in the City of Dickinson and wish him and his family well. With that said, the City of Dickinson has received a public interest form from Sean Soren, P.E., to serve on the Board of Adjustment and Board of Appeals. Mr. Soren is with Boundary Engineering and has a very extensive background and has working knowledge of the City of Dickinson. Staff recommends approval.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Schwint. Any questions for Mr. Schwint on the citizen interest form? Hearing no questions, I'd look for a motion on the citizen interest form.
Mr. President, I move we approve the appointment of Mr. Soren.
We have a motion to approve Mr. Soren
Second.
with a second. Any further questions on this appointment? I just have one other, I guess. Does Mr. Soren also sit on the, this is for the Board of Appeals, right? That he's,
Board of Adjustment
adjustment, okay.
and Board of Appeals.
Okay, okay. Got it. Because I know he sits on another board within the city too, so, okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions? We have a motion to approve it with a second. We'll go ahead and vote. Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Ms. Walla?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Mr. Soren is approved for appointment. We have nothing, like I said earlier, on the timetable. We'll move on to public issues of city concern not on the agenda. If you have a public issue of city concern that is not on our agenda this evening, please come forward, state your name, and let us know your concern. Seeing no one from the public has any concerns with the city, they're doing a good job. We'll move into the commission items. The Vite retainer has been removed from tonight's agenda, but there is Odyssey development provision.
Mr. President, members of the commission, this development agreement had previously come before you and had been approved by the commission. And you might recall at that meeting, I believe all commissioners were present, you might recall that Mr. Fee was here and that he indicated prior to the meeting, I represented the commission, that he would review the agreement. He was comfortable with it. We got to the part about the lights in the development agreement, and I asked him to come up to the podium and speak to it because I was still uncertain, again, if we had a clear understanding of what the responsibilities were. He came up and represented a preference to have something different than was written in the agreement. The commission, that was not consistent with my understanding of the commission's wishes previously, and also contrary to, I believe, the city planner's understanding as well of what the prior discussions had been. The agreement was approved by the commission as written. we were preparing for closing, and I communicated to the attorney for Odyssey that I'm still uncertain about this light pole provision. I'm sending you an agreement that was approved by the City Commission. Mr. Steve was there, but please confirm, because if he's going to disagree with this, because they did confirm I'm mumbling here, but you did confirm the language as had been presented to you. And subsequently, Mr. Steve did object to the light pole, and that he wanted the city to cover the labor, which, again, I believe had not been part of the discussions until immediately prior to the approval of the development agreement the first time. And he is requesting that be clarified and changed prior to closing, in that he would like the city to incur the costs of both the labor and maintenance. It was my understanding the city had previously agreed to provide the cost of the equipment for the light, but not the labor for the third light pole. The development agreement has been revised to reflect this preference by Mr. Steve, and it is before you for reconsideration.
Any questions for Mrs. Murtha? The cost, my understanding is, and Mr. Hadley, if I'm incorrect, please correct me, less than $2,000 for this amendment, for the labor.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I don't know, I'll correct you, but it's an undefined circuit, and so there might be additional costs to the downtown lighting project.
Right. I'm
Because
just
of it.
talking
So-
specifically.
The specific light, yes.
Yeah. I think we've had this discussion, yes.
Yeah.
There's more along the circuit. We understand that we'll be responsible for the rest of the circuit, so.
All right.
All right. Any other questions? Well, hearing no other questions, I'd look for a motion to approve this amendment to the DDA,
Move.
development agreement, DDA.
Move to approve, Mr. President.
We have a motion to approve the amendment
Second.
with a second. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Ms. Wallop?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. There is one item I want to bring up as, it's not listed, but as usually this is the open part of the commission item. We have received some correspondence from Mr. Radden. You know the discussion we had with the Dickinson Hills Group. They had till the end of this month to produce 4 leases. They are asking for 2 more weeks. So I guess just under the direction, since I don't think we had a formal resolution allowing them to have to the end of the month, the discussion, I've had the discussion already with the vice president. He's not here because he's out ill. He's okay with the 2 weeks. The remaining, as you're the other commissioners here, my question would be if we allow them an additional 2 weeks to shore up their
It
leases.
appears it's the result of TJ Maxx and not Dickinson Hills.
No.
If it was the other way around. I have no problem with another 2 weeks. Would you like that in a motion?
Ms. Walla? Yes, I guess if, we really don't need to. We don't have a formal resolution giving them till the end of the month.
I feel as though you've provided consensus,
Yes,
and staff can take direction.
Okay.
It's good enough.
Is that good enough? Okay. And that's it. So I think I made the time hack, Mr. Steiner.
You're pretty close, 19 minutes.
So, Mrs. Carlson.
I just want to clarify so that I can make sure that we have it correct. Do you want it 2 weeks from the October 28th or as of today?
Well, whatever the end of that, the next
28th of October was
Later
2
of.
weeks from that, the next 2 weeks, the next 10 working days, so.
Okay, thank you.
Is that it?
That was-
Okay. All right, look for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Do we have a second to adjourn?
I'm almost done, sorry.
We're adjourned.